the dog who dug for days to save a buried kitten. The sun shone brightly on Maple Street, casting a warm glow on the neatly trimmed lawns and colorful flower beds. In the backyard of the Miller family home, Champ, a golden retriever with a heart as golden as his fur, was enjoying a leisurely afternoon. Champ, a beloved member of the Miller family, was the epitome of a playful and energetic companion. With his wagging tail and infectious enthusiasm, he brought joy to everyone he met. He loved his family dearly, especially young Emily and Ethan, who treated him as their furry brother. On this particular afternoon, Champ was indulging in his favorite pastime, exploring the backyard. He chased butterflies that flitted among the blooms, rolled gleefully on the soft grass, and sniffed at the fragrant roses, his tail wagging with unbridled enthusiasm. Suddenly, a commotion next door caught his attention. A moving truck had pulled up to the previously empty house, and people were bustling about, unloading boxes and furniture. Champ, his curiosity piqued, watched intently from his side of the fence, his ears perked, his nose twitching. He had always been fascinated by the world beyond his backyard, and the arrival of new neighbors sparked a sense of excitement within him. He wondered who they were, if they had any children, and most importantly, if they had a dog. As he watched the movers unload a large armchair, a small, furry creature darted out from beneath it. It was a kitten, a tiny ball of gray fur with bright green eyes. The kitten, startled by its new surroundings, looked around cautiously, its tail twitching nervously. Champ, his heart melting at the sight of the kitten, let out a soft whine, hoping to attract its attention. The kitten, hearing the sound, turned its head and spotted Champ peering through the fence. Their eyes met, and a spark of connection ignited between them. Champ, his tail wagging excitedly, barked a friendly greeting. The kitten, its initial fear subsiding, responded with a playful meow. Champ, unable to contain his excitement, ran along the fence, hoping to get closer to his new friend. He barked and wagged his tail, his enthusiasm evident in every movement. The kitten, intrigued by Champ's playful antics, approached the fence cautiously. It rubbed its head against the wooden slats, its purrs rumbling softly. Champ, his heart filled with joy, had found a new friend, a kindred spirit in this unfamiliar world beyond his backyard. He knew that this was the beginning of a beautiful friendship, a bond that would transcend the boundaries of their respective territories. Champ's fascination with the new neighbors and their adorable kitten grew stronger with each passing day. He would spend hours by the fence, watching them settle into their new home, his tail wagging hopefully whenever he caught a glimpse of the kitten. He longed to play with his new friend, to explore the mysteries of their backyard, to share in the excitement of their new surroundings. But the fence stood as a barrier, a physical reminder of the boundaries that separated their worlds. One afternoon, as Champ was patrolling the fence line, he noticed a gap near the back corner, a small opening where the wooden slats had rotted away. His heart leaped with excitement. This was his chance, his opportunity to venture into the unknown, to meet his new friend face to face. He squeezed through the gap, his agile body navigating the narrow opening with ease. He emerged into the neighbor's yard, his senses heightened, his tail wagging with anticipation. The yard was a wonderland of new sights and smells. There were flower beds filled with colorful blooms, a vegetable garden bursting with fresh produce, and a large oak tree with branches that stretched towards the sky like welcoming arms. But Champ's attention was drawn to a small, furry figure darting through the tall grass. It was the kitten, now named Mittens by her new family, exploring her new domain with boundless energy. Champ, unable to contain his excitement, let out a playful bark and bounded towards Mittens. Mittens, startled by the sudden appearance of the large dog, arched her back and hissed, her fur bristling with caution. But Champ, sensing her fear, slowed his approach, his tail wagging reassuringly. He lowered his head, his eyes soft and gentle, his body language conveying his friendly intentions. Mittens, observing Champ's non-threatening demeanor, relaxed slightly. She lowered her guard, her curiosity overcoming her fear. She approached Champ cautiously, her steps hesitant, her tail twitching with a mix of apprehension and excitement. Champ, sensing her change in attitude, wagged his tail even harder, inviting her to play. He bowed playfully, his front legs extended, his hindquarters raised, his tongue lolling out in a goofy grin. Mittens, intrigued by Champ's playful invitation, responded with a tentative paw swipe. Champ, delighted by her response, leaped back, encouraging her to chase him. They engaged in a playful game of chase, their laughter echoing through the yard. Champ, careful not to overwhelm Mittens with his size and strength, adjusted his movements to match her playful energy. They rolled in the grass, wrestled playfully, and chased butterflies together, their shared joy creating a bond of friendship that transcended their differences. As the afternoon wore on, their play grew more adventurous. They explored the garden, sniffing at the fragrant flowers and chasing after buzzing bees. They climbed the oak tree, their claws finding purchase in the rough bark, their eyes sparkling with excitement. Their friendship blossomed with every shared experience, their bond strengthening with every playful interaction. They were two kindred spirits, united by their love for adventure and their shared joy in the simple pleasures of life. The sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the yard as Champ and Mittens continued their playful exploration. They reached a corner of the yard where a pile of landscaping rocks had been haphazardly stacked by the movers. The rocks, varying in size and shape, formed a miniature mountain, an irresistible challenge for the adventurous duo. Champ, with his boundless energy, leaped onto the rocks, his paws finding purchase on the uneven surface. Mittens, not to be outdone, followed suit, her agile body scaling the rocky terrain with ease. They chased each other around the pile, their playful barks and meows echoing through the quiet neighborhood. Suddenly, as Mittens leaped from one rock to another, the pile shifted beneath her weight. The unstable stack of rocks crumbled, cascading down in a mini avalanche of dust and debris. Champ, watching in horror, saw Mittens disappear beneath the falling rocks. He barked frantically, his heart pounding with fear. He rushed towards the pile, his paws scrambling over the loose rocks, his eyes searching for any sign of his friend. He found Mittens trapped beneath a large, flat rock, her tiny body partially buried, her hind legs pinned beneath the heavy weight. She meowed pitifully, her cries muffled by the rocks, her eyes wide with fear. Champ, his protective instincts kicking in, tried to move the rock, but it was too heavy. He barked and whined, his cries for help echoing through the empty yard. But no one came. Desperate to free his friend, he began digging around the rock, his paws frantically clawing at the earth, his determination fueled by his love for Mittens. He dug and dug, his claws scraping against the hard ground, his breath coming in ragged gasps. But the rock remained stubbornly in place, its weight pinning Mittens down, her cries growing weaker with each passing moment. Champ, his heart filled with despair, knew he needed to find help, and fast. He scrambled out of the yard, squeezing back through the gap in the fence. He raced towards his house, barking frantically, hoping to attract his family's attention. He burst through the back door, his fur covered in dust and dirt, his eyes wild with panic. He barked and whined, running back and forth between the door and the living room, trying to convey the urgency of the situation. The Millers, startled by Champ's unusual behavior, looked at him with concern. They had never seen him so agitated, so desperate. "Champ, what's wrong?" Mrs. Miller asked, her voice filled with worry. "What's gotten into you?" Champ, unable to explain with words, barked again, then turned and ran towards the back door, looking back expectantly, hoping they would follow. The Millers, sensing the urgency in his actions, exchanged a worried glance. They knew something was wrong, something that required their immediate attention. They followed Champ out the door, their hearts pounding with apprehension. Champ led them towards the fence, squeezing through the gap, his barks urging them to follow. They emerged into the neighbor's yard, their eyes widening in horror at the sight of the collapsed rock pile and Champ's frantic digging. They immediately understood the situation, their hearts sinking with fear for the trapped kitten. "Oh no, Mrs. Miller gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. "Champ, what have you found?" Mr. Miller, his face grim, rushed towards the pile, his strong arms ready to move the heavy rock. The Millers, their hearts filled with a mix of fear and determination, joined forces with Champ, their shared love for animals fueling their efforts to save the trapped kitten. The Millers, their hearts pounding with a mix of fear and determination, joined forces with Champ. Mr. Miller, assessing the situation, realized that moving the heavy rock would require more than just brute strength. He rushed back to his garage, returning with a crowbar and a shovel. With the crowbar, he carefully wedged it beneath the rock, creating leverage to lift it. Mrs. Miller and Emily, their hands trembling, helped to stabilize the surrounding rocks, preventing further collapse. Champ, his excitement mounting, barked encouragingly, his tail wagging furiously. He watched intently as Mr. Miller strained against the crowbar, the rock slowly beginning to rise. With a final heave, the rock shifted, creating enough space for Mittens to be freed. Mrs. Miller gently reached in, her hands scooping up the tiny kitten, her heart filled with relief. Mittens, her body trembling, her fur covered in dust, let out a weak meow, her eyes blinking in the sudden sunlight. Mrs. Miller cradled her close, whispering soothing words, her warmth and affection calming the frightened kitten. Champ, overjoyed at seeing his friend freed, barked excitedly, licking Mittens' face, his tail wagging so hard his entire body wiggled. He nudged her gently with his nose, ensuring she was unharmed. The Millers, their hearts filled with gratitude for Champ's quick thinking and unwavering determination, showered him with praise and affection. They hugged him tightly, their voices filled with pride. "You saved her, Champ," Mr. Miller said, his voice thick with emotion. "You saved Mittens." Champ, basking in their admiration, wagged his tail even harder, his eyes shining with happiness. He had done what any loyal friend would do. He had protected those in need. He had proven that even a dog could be a hero. The Millers, their attention now focused on Mittens, examined her for injuries. Thankfully, she seemed to be unharmed, her only discomfort the dust and dirt clinging to her fur. They decided to take her back to their house to clean her up and offer her some food and water. Champ, eager to stay by his friend's side, followed them closely, his tail wagging with anticipation. As they walked back to their house, they noticed their new neighbors, the Smiths, emerging from their front door, their faces etched with worry. They had heard the commotion and were concerned about the source of the noise. The Millers explained the situation, recounting Champ's heroic actions and Mittens' lucky escape. The Smiths, their hearts filled with gratitude, thanked the Millers profusely, their admiration for Champ evident in their voices. They introduced themselves, their faces beaming with relief at seeing Mittens safe and sound. They expressed their amazement at Champ's intelligence and loyalty, their voices filled with praise for his heroic actions. The two families, united by this shared experience, stood together in the warm afternoon sun, their hearts filled with gratitude for the bond that had formed between their pets, a bond that had brought them together as neighbors and friends. News of Champ's heroic actions spread quickly through the quiet neighborhood of Maple Street. The Millers and the Smiths found themselves recounting the tale to curious neighbors who stopped by, drawn by the heartwarming story of the dog who had saved a kitten. Champ, basking in the attention, lapped up the praise and extra treats, his tail wagging incessantly. He had become a local celebrity, a furry ambassador of goodwill, his story a testament to the loyalty and compassion that resided within the heart of every dog. But amidst the celebrations and the heartwarming reunion, a sense of unease lingered in the air. Mittens, though physically unharmed, seemed withdrawn and subdued. She spent most of her time curled up in a quiet corner, her playful energy replaced by a quiet timidity. The Smiths, concerned for their new pet, took her to the veterinarian for a checkup. The vet, after a thorough examination, concluded that Mittens had suffered no physical injuries, but she suspected that the traumatic experience had left an emotional scar. "She's likely experiencing some anxiety and fear," the vet explained. It's not uncommon for animals to have emotional reactions after a traumatic event. The Smiths, their hearts aching for their little kitten, were determined to help her heal. They showered her with love and affection, creating a safe and nurturing environment for her to recover. Champ, sensing Mittens' distress, became her constant companion. He would lie beside her for hours, his warm body offering comfort and reassurance. He would gently nudge her with his nose, encouraging her to play, his playful barks a gentle invitation to join him in his usual backyard antics. But Mittens remained withdrawn, her playful spirit seemingly extinguished. She would flinch at sudden noises, her eyes wide with fear, her body trembling with anxiety. Champ, undeterred, continued his efforts to cheer her up. He would bring her his favorite toys, hoping to spark her interest. He would perform his most impressive tricks, hoping to elicit a smile. He would even try to coax her into chasing him around the yard, his tail wagging hopefully, his barks filled with encouragement. But Mittens remained unresponsive, her fear and anxiety overshadowing her natural playfulness. Champ, his heart heavy with concern, refused to give up. He knew that Mittens needed his support, his friendship, his unwavering loyalty. He vowed to stay by her side, to be her protector, her confidant, her source of comfort. He would patiently wait for her to heal, to regain her trust, to rediscover the joy and wonder of life. He knew that their bond, forged in the crucible of a shared trauma, was strong enough to withstand this challenge. He believed that with time, patience, and unwavering love, Mittens would overcome her fear and emerge stronger, more resilient, and more playful than ever. Days turned into weeks, and Mittens slowly began to show signs of recovery. The Smiths' patient care and Champ's unwavering companionship were gradually chipping away at the fear that had gripped her. She started venturing out of her hiding spots more often, her curiosity tentatively re-emerging. One sunny afternoon, while the Smiths were at work, Champ, as usual, was keeping Mittens company. He lay beside her on the living room rug, his head resting on her paws, his soft snores filling the quiet room. Mittens, feeling a surge of playful energy, batted at Champ's nose with her paw. Champ, startled awake, looked at her with surprise, his tail wagging hopefully. Mittens, emboldened by his encouraging gaze, pounced on his tail, her claws playfully batting at the fluffy appendage. Champ, delighted by her sudden burst of energy, responded with a playful bark and a gentle nudge. They tumbled around the rug, their playful wrestling match a welcome sight for the Smiths, who had just returned home. They watched with smiles as their pets interacted, their hearts filled with relief and gratitude. "Look at her go!" Mrs. Smith exclaimed, her voice filled with joy. "She's finally playing again." Mr. Smith nodded, his eyes twinkling with amusement. "Champ's been a great friend to her," he said. "He's helped her so much." Champ, sensing their approval, wagged his tail even harder, his eyes shining with pride. He had played a part in Mittens' recovery, his friendship a source of comfort and strength during her time of need. The Smiths, recognizing the importance of Champ's presence in Mittens' life, decided to encourage their interactions. They organized playdates in their backyard, setting up obstacle courses and games that fostered their bond. Champ, ever the enthusiastic playmate, embraced these opportunities with gusto. He would chase Mittens through the tunnels, leap over hurdles with her, and even teach her how to fetch his favorite ball. Mittens, her confidence growing with each passing day, responded to Champ's playful invitations with renewed enthusiasm. She would chase him through the tall grass, pounce on his tail, and even climb onto his back for a piggyback ride. Their laughter filled the backyard, their playful antics a testament to their growing friendship. They were an inseparable duo, their bond a source of joy and entertainment for their families and the entire neighborhood. One evening, as the sun set, casting a golden glow over Maple Street, the Millers and the Smiths gathered in the Smiths' backyard, enjoying a barbecue dinner. Champ and Mittens lay side by side on the grass, their heads resting on each other's paws, their eyes closed contentedly. The two families, united by their shared love for their pets, chatted and laughed, their voices mingling with the sounds of crickets and the distant barking of dogs. They had become more than just neighbors. They were friends, their bonds strengthened by the heartwarming story of Champ's heroism and Mittens' recovery. As the stars twinkled in the night sky, casting a blanket of serenity over the neighborhood, Champ and Mittens drifted off to sleep, their dreams filled with images of playful chases, shared adventures, and the unwavering friendship that had blossomed between them. The story of Champ's heroism and Mittens' recovery spread beyond the confines of Maple Street, reaching the local newspaper and even the evening news. Champ and Mittens became local celebrities, their story capturing the hearts of the community and beyond. People were touched by Champ's unwavering loyalty, his determination to save his friend, and his gentle support during Mittens' recovery. They were inspired by the resilience of both animals, their ability to overcome adversity and find joy in each other's company. The Millers and the Smiths were inundated with calls and messages from well-wishers, expressing their admiration for Champ and their relief at Mittens' recovery. The story resonated with people of all ages, reminding them of the power of friendship, compassion, and the enduring bond between humans and animals. The local animal shelter, where Champ had been adopted years ago, organized a special event in his honor. They invited Champ, Mittens, and their families to a hero dog celebration, complete with a red carpet, a mountain of treats, and a special certificate recognizing Champ's bravery and compassion. Champ, the center of attention, basked in the adoration, his tail wagging furiously, his tongue lolling out in a happy grin. Mittens, though still a bit shy, clung to Champ's side, her purrs a testament to her trust and affection for her canine hero. The event was a heartwarming celebration of the human-animal bond, a reminder of the positive impact animals have on our lives. It brought the community together, fostering a sense of shared joy and appreciation for the furry companions that enrich our world. The Millers and the Smiths, their friendship solidified by the shared experience, continued to organize regular playdates for Champ and Mittens. The two families often gathered for barbecues, picnics in the park, and even movie nights, their laughter and conversation filling their homes with warmth and camaraderie. Champ and Mittens, inseparable companions, thrived in this loving environment. They explored the neighborhood together, chased squirrels in the park, and curled up together for naps in sunbeams. Their friendship, a beacon of joy and resilience, illuminated the lives of everyone they touched. The story of Champ and Mittens became a local legend, a tale whispered with admiration and affection. It was a story that reminded people of the importance of kindness, perseverance, and the power of community. It was a story that celebrated the enduring bond between humans and animals, a bond that enriches our lives and reminds us of the simple joys of friendship and companionship. As the years passed, Champ and Mittens grew older, their youthful energy gradually replaced by a comfortable companionship. Their playful chases became leisurely strolls, their boisterous wrestling matches turned into gentle cuddles. But their bond remained as strong as ever, a testament to the enduring power of friendship. They were inseparable, their presence a constant source of comfort and joy for their families and the entire neighborhood. Champ, now a senior dog, had slowed down considerably. His once boundless energy had given way to a calm contentment. He spent his days napping in sunbeams, enjoying leisurely walks with the Millers, and supervising the neighborhood children's games with a watchful eye. Mittens, though still sprightly for her age, had also mellowed. She had overcome her fear and anxiety, her playful spirit tempered by a gentle wisdom. She spent her days curled up on the Smiths' laps, purring contentedly, her presence a soothing balm for their busy lives. Despite their differences in age and species, Champ and Mittens remained the best of friends. They would often be found napping together, their bodies intertwined, their breaths synchronized in a peaceful rhythm. They would still engage in occasional playful antics, their games a gentle reminder of their youthful adventures. Champ would chase Mittens around the yard, his barks soft and playful, his movements deliberate and slow. Mittens would pounce on his tail, her claws retracted, her playful swats gentle and affectionate. Their friendship had become a symbol of resilience, a testament to the enduring power of connection. They had faced challenges together, overcome adversity, and found solace in each other's company. Their story, a tale of courage, compassion, and unwavering loyalty, continued to inspire those who heard it. It was a reminder that even in the face of fear and uncertainty, friendship can blossom, offering comfort, strength, and a renewed sense of hope. Champ and Mittens, their lives intertwined, their hearts connected by an invisible thread of friendship, lived out their days in the warm embrace of their families and their community. They were a testament to the power of love, loyalty, and the enduring bond between humans and animals, a bond that enriches our lives and reminds us of the simple joys of companionship.